My life was at its absolute lowest about 4 years ago, mainly due to a health reason outside of my control. This disease affected every second of the day and night for me, which eventually infected all areas of my life. My work began to suffer. A role where I was making about $27,000 per month dwindled down to $10,000 per month, which eventually caused me to be let go. The disease allowed me to sleep on and off for about 4 hours total each night, which caused my energy levels to dwindle. I lost about 32 pounds in a 6 month span, and when I looked in the mirror, I was ashamed of what I saw in my reflection, which caused my brain to avoid leaving the house unless absolutely necessary. My only goal was to feel slightly normal again, and after 8 months and 11 days, I finally felt some relief from this disease. From there, I unfucked my life in 90 days, and you can too. Step 1, reality check. It takes an honest conversation with yourself. I felt completely lost. But feeling lost is not a problem. Staying lost is a problem. Being lost is a natural progression in life because you don't have all the info you need to go to the next destination. It happens to everyone at some point in their life. The problem arises when you have red flags raising and you choose to avoid the fire and do nothing about it. So you have to get real with yourself. If I stayed in this situation for another 5 years, how afraid would I be? And I was terrified by the answer. By then, I'd be even more anxious, more pessimistic, and it'd be even harder to get out of a bad routine. I lit a fire under my butt. Step 2, start with yourself. In life, you constantly move between highs and lows. Highs being where things are going great, you feel great, and you feel like you can do anything. Lows being where it feels like nothing's going right and everything's just collapsing in. When you're in a low period, your mind starts to play tricks on you. Your mind tells you, there's no way out. It's going to be like this forever. That's just not true. The only truth is, only you can get yourself out of this situation. Take me, for example. I got to the point where I didn't clean my room. Dishes were piling up. My own hygiene wasn't even a priority. Even if you were there back then to clean my room for me, based on my current belief system, my room would have quickly gotten messy again. So it had to be me. And it has to be you. I started cleaning each room one by one, getting rid of any external clutter that reminded me of my clutter inside. I brushed my teeth, I showered, I put on some cologne, and it helped take a couple steps out of the low. I figured, hey, even if the world outside starts crumbling and a giant asteroid was about to hit Earth, at least I'd smell good. And that started the momentum. Step 3, recalibrate your standards. My standards were trapping me, and your standards are trapping you. When I say standard, I simply mean what feels normal to you. And normal is different for everyone. You have your standard, your peak, and your floor. If Elon Musk woke up one day, checked his bank account, and saw he had $10 million in it, he would freak out and feel like he was going broke. But that same 10 million to someone else could be a number that they can't even fathom. You have to find your current standards. Then you raise them. Then you keep them there. Each of those levels have different challenges. Picture this. John has $1,000 to his name. That is his standard. His dad gives him $2,000 for graduating college. Now he's way above his average. So he starts ordering DoorDash more. He gets a few items off his Amazon wish list, and after a few weeks, he's back to having $1,000 standard in his bank account. And he wonders where all the money went. It's subconscious. You always gravitate towards your standards. Similarly, if John had his $1,000, but he totaled his bike and needed to get a new one, now he only has $300 in his account. So when his friends ask him to go out, or he's hungry next time, he checks the fridge first or says he just can't go out, I'm broke. And he works back up to his standard. So how do you raise your standards? The mind-blowing truth about standards is they usually work as one for all areas of your life. When your bank account is at its lowest, usually your sleep and your self-care is at its worst as well. When your self-care is at its best, your bank account usually reflects that. As I started building momentum, I used a 30-day scheme to raise my standards. So again, John's at $3,000. Instead of spending the excess, he doesn't do anything with it for 30 days. Subconsciously, that becomes his new standard over that time. So after 30 days, now he gets a raise at work. Now it's at $4,000. For 30 days again, he doesn't do anything with the extra, and he has a new standard. You can continue to do this an infinite amount of times to unfuck your life and achieve anything. Step 4, cut screen time. I desperately wanted to get back to the old me. I would wake up and watch a YouTube video on how to improve my life, but was met with vague advice like get smart, connect with others, and other tips that left me feeling more lost than before. To cope with those feelings, I would doom scroll for hours. Then I'd beat myself up for wasting so much time, watch another video on how to improve my life, and then repeat that process until evening, where I would then attack myself even more for wasting an entire day. So then I would watch Netflix and play video games to avoid feeling that feeling of despair. I had to delete social media. I deleted Netflix. I removed any source that could cause me to doom scroll and only left me with sources that would move me in a direction I wanted and needed, cutting hours and hours off of my screen time each day. Step 5, simplify the rule of 80-20. I needed improvement in all areas of my life. And with an endless amount of areas to improve, you don't know where to start. The Pareto principle is proven to be a law of nature time and time again, meaning 80% of the results are driven by 20% of total inputs. Simplified further, 20% of your life will give you 80% of your happiness. So only focus on the areas that matter most to you. The rest is just noise. Step 6, set the right goals. I just wanted to feel happy. Anyone does when they're feeling down. But there are two common errors most people make when setting goals. First, they make happiness the goal. As Jordan Peterson states, if your goal is just to be happy, that's impossible. You're telling me you want happiness without ever feeling any kind of burden in your life? That won't happen. The second mistake is that people often have unrealistic goals. Through my doom scrolling, I would see people with mansions on the beach and Bugattis in their garage. Wanting a Bugatti when I couldn't even clean my home doesn't help me out. You have to learn addition before you get to calculus. You have to start with the smallest goal that will move you in the right direction. Meaning, start with going from 0 to 1, not with 1,000 to 1,001. You have to set the bar appropriately low for yourself. Step 7, plan your day. Much of success nowadays can be attributed to how good someone is at following directions. I've had mentors and coaches for a number of areas in my life. What is true time and time again is that the more I follow the plan that is laid out before me, the better results I get. So plan your few tasks the night before. This will take away any overthinking you have, and then you can simply submit to the work that needs to be done. Step 8, eat the frog. You have to do the work. There is no way around it. As you go down your path of rebuilding your life, the start is the hardest. It takes more energy to start than it does to keep going. You have to take that first step. Don't worry about being perfect. A bed made poorly is still better than a bed not made. You can improve, but you have to start. Step 9, cut bad influences. Misery loves company, and that company doesn't want to let you go. Tony Robbins has a great example for this. Look at this picture here. Now count how many red objects you see. Now close your eyes. How many brown objects were there in the picture? You have no idea, right? It's because you were looking for red. So if you look for negatives in life, you will find them. Look for positives and you'll find them. Cut the people out of your life who hook you to stay where you are. Cut vices out that keep you from doing the work that you need to do. Step 10, keep your word. You are the only person in your life that will be with you every step of the way for the rest of your life. The fastest way to destroy all self-confidence you have is to tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it. And believe me, I know, when you're at your lowest, if you treated others the way you treat yourself, people would want nothing to do with you. But the fastest way to build your confidence is to keep your word to yourself. That gives you evidence that you can do this. And that builds day after day after day until you have a fortified wall. Step 11, consistency. Building that wall takes consistency. If your goal is to unfuck your life or build a billion-dollar business, everyone would do it if it was easy. You know the journey will be difficult. You will second guess yourself sometimes. So when times get tough, remind yourself that this is what hard feels like. It's supposed to feel like this. So continue laying brick after brick. Step 12, reflect on your journey. You've been stuck, just like I was. Even getting out of bed was difficult. So you set an appropriately low bar and you've been consistent with it for 30 days. Take a moment to reflect on those 30 days. 80% of that time, you probably felt like you were failing. 15% of the time, you probably felt neutral. And the 5% of the time, looking back, you realize how far you've come. And that will inspire you to keep going. When you do that 2 more times at the end of 90 days, you can be in a completely different situation. So if you gain something from this video, share it with someone else who needs it and we'll get out of this low together.